Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to go back over some projects that I did last year in our 90s California dream home. We did our DIY arches, which look amazing. We did a DIY niche wall, which is super surprisingly easy, and we did a DIY bathroom update. Okay, so let's start with the DIY arched doorway. Now this project looks super good from the front, it looks super good from the back. This is probably one of my favorite projects. So go to Home Depot or Lowe's, get your DIY arch kit. It comes in a piece like that, which you break in half. You put one piece on the right side of the arch, one piece on the left side of the arch. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna nail or screw each arch in place. And once you do that, you're gonna have that little triangular shaped cavity. You're gonna trace that shape out and cut out a piece of sheetrock in the same size, and you're gonna put it in each little cavity and one piece along the front of it. And then you can use this metal guard if you want, or you can just cover it with joint compound. The metal is just for extra stability, but when you have to cover it with joint compound, this is the part that's going to take forever, because you do have to do it in layers, because each layer has to dry and each layer needs to be sanded. So we taped it off with some plastic because it was a mess. I mean, sanding joint compound is a mess. It's like you're in a blizzard. So make sure you tape off the area, and once that's all sanded, go ahead and spray texture and paint, and it looks so good. This project, I was going to do it on more areas of the home, I just haven't gotten around to it, but yes, definitely one of my favorite DIY projects we did for our house. The next project we're going to talk about is the DIY niche wall. Okay, so you're going to cut out your template out of styrofoam, or you can draw it freehand, and you just start cutting out your wall. Now you want to cut out the sheetrock, and if there's wood behind it, you're going to have to get something stronger like a Sawzall and cut out the wood. Then you're going to take a sheetrock and line the back and the bottom and one long strip to make your rainbow shape. The upper curve of the rainbow shape, you're going to make some slits so that it can bend in your U shape. You don't need to wet it, you just need to cut some slits. Once you have that piece perfect, you're going to nail it in place. This is the messy part. You have to slather the whole thing with joint compound. All the cracks, grooves, you have to do it in several layers, and it has to dry between layers. This part's not fun. You're gonna have to do some sanding, and it's gonna take a lot of mud. Okay, so once you have that done, you're gonna spray it with wall texture and then paint, and it looks so good. It doesn't have to be perfect, you get the idea. I love my little niche wall, and I love decorating it with vintage finds. Okay, the last project we're going to talk about is my favorite, the bathroom renovation. So the bathroom started off where they just painted everything white, and it had some old 90s dated granite. So what I did was I stripped the white paint. First I did the orange stripper, which wasn't very strong. I mean, it doesn't have a bad odor, but it's not very strong. Then I went in with a quick strip, which was much faster and easier. Okay, so I painstakingly stripped all the paint. I took the doors outside. I used a metal brush, I used a scraper, a metal scraper, a plastic scraper, a lot of elbow grease, and I finally was able to remove all the white paint. Then I had this piece of white oak flooring, which I really liked, and I wanted to match this color. So in order to get this color, you have to do several steps in order to get the exact color, because remember, this is 30-year-old wood, and it has its own patina, and if you like the patina, great, go over with some matte poly, but if you don't like it, you're going to have to use a few steps. So once you have the paint removed, you're going to have to sand it with some coarse grit, then some fine grit sandpaper, and once it's sanded, you have kind of like an orangey color. So I went in with some bleach to cut out the orange tones, and the bleach, it really did help. So right after the bleach, I made a color wash with paint and water, and I went to the hardware store and I purchased some hardware, which is probably my most fun part. Then you're gonna do some touch-ups, make it a little whiter in certain areas or a little less white, whatever you need to do. Just go by what you like. And the end result looked really, really good. Okay, so then I had to think about the coloration in the granite. This was the floor I'm working with, which is kind of like a gray stone. I actually really like the floor because it's honed, it's not shiny. I do like honed stone as opposed to shiny. This is the cabinetry. Well, it's not the cabinetry, but that's the color wood that I was going for. And then I needed to figure out the granite. So like I said before, the previous homeowner had this granite in place, which So this granite is definitely like from the 90s or the cheapest type you find at Home Depot or Lowe's. So I decided to go to a Remnant Granite Yard where you can buy discounted slabs. There wasn't many options because the size was a particular size. So I went with the most basic and neutral, but yet had some interest. And I really like this one. It had some striations and it also had some burgundy dotting. So we decided to use that. So the granite fabricators came and he installed the whole granite, including the piece of slab, for under $1,000. Okay, so here lies the problem. You see that piece, that missing strip? We didn't have enough to create a backsplash, so I had to get real creative at this part. Went to Floor & Decor and I purchased some tiles. I purchased this antique mirror, which I love. I'm a big fan of antique mirror. I also purchased this antique mirror tiles. Wasn't sure which one I was going to use. And then my favorite tile is called Zalige. It has a really nice handmade edge quality to it. I think it originates from Morocco, but I think they're mass produced now, but I really like the way Zalige tile looks. So I needed to decide which one I was going to install. Okay, so I put the Zalige tile. I really didn't like the gray on gray. It was just too much matchy-matchy. So I decided to see what the antique mirror was gonna look like. And when I put the antique mirror in place, I really liked it. Only problem was there was a small gap. It wasn't quite tall enough. So I decided to use the tile to augment the gap, and it actually worked perfectly. So I mixed some grout, and you guys, when you make grout, make sure you don't like wash your hands and wash the empty bucket or the dirty bucket down the sink, because you will clog your drain. I actually did it on the right side, and now I have a slow leak even after the plumber came. So I applied the grout. I didn't even need too much. It kind of stayed in place pretty well. I actually did use that as a little wedge, but I really like the way it looks, and it actually filled in the gap perfectly. So then I decided to go to Target to get some home decor.
What is the purpose of this thing? $36. Oh, it's like a vase thing. I like this, but it's $40. Even though I should be picking gold, I do like this. Because I like this colored glass. I think I'm just gonna get these too.
One more of these, I don't know where it is. Or should I put it here? I'm super proud of it. I'm mostly proud with the cabinets because I turned them from painted white, the passe, like 1990s builder grade, to this beautiful, like aged white oak color. Okay, so the last project is the custom mirror. I went to the hardware and I bought some long wood strips. Now the wood strips weren't gonna match my custom stain I did on the cabinetry, so I had to use some various colors of paint to match the cabinetry. I used some tans, some taupes, some browns, some blacks, even a little whitewash, and I slowly added the color to the strips just so it wouldn't look like brand new wood. It wasn't an exact match, but it was pretty close. So then what we did was we measured the lengths that we need and we mitered all the edges, and once it was glued up in place, I had to go along in certain areas and just touch up where I thought it should be a little bit dark. Okay, so I think the custom frame looks really nice. The mitered edges make it look like it was something that was meant to be there, and we only use glue to adhere it, and it really does coordinate with the cabinetry. So that's it for the bathroom reno. The last thing I did was I bought this armoire on Facebook Marketplace. It's early American, and I really love this addition to the bathroom.